Gentlemen, thank you very much for your order this evening. It's been fantastic. We've had a wonderful evening. What a fantastic crowd. It is nice to come up and speak in front of proper people like yourselves. I'm just glad you can understand me. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and how I came to speak at this prestigious event. It's been funny today because I did travel up down to Rosyth and had a look where my mum and dad lived when I was a little toddler. It's been quite emotional really. But you can probably tell from my accent that I'm not a local lad, I'm not from around these parts. I was actually born in Gibraltar, but my mum and dad in 1967 decided to move to Halifax in West Yorkshire, mainly for tax reasons. But I am very proud. I'm a proud Yorkshireman like Hoggy, and I'm going to tell you a few interesting facts about my hometown. Halifax, right, is the only place in the United Kingdom where the population has remained at a constant level for the past 35 years, and that is a fact. It's not fluctuated at all, and I'm going to tell you people why that is, because there is a reason for it, gentlemen. And what it is, right, every time a woman in Halifax gets pregnant, right, the blow just fucks off. But I've got to tell you, right, I was really nervous about coming up here today because I didn't know how you'd accept me and Hoggy and that. And you probably can't tell from out there, but it is quite daunting standing here. And I am actually sweating like Gary Glitter on a bouncy castle right now, but nobody can tell that, so I'm quite pleased about that. But it's a lovely place. What a fantastic hotel. Give a big hand for the bar staff. They're working really hard tonight. And they are looking a little bit nervous, but at the end of the day, if I were fiddling, I would be as well. I'm only joking. I tell you what, they're proper attractive bar staff, that's well, maybe not all of you, you know what I'm talking about, though. You're all very bonny, trust me. You're not like Halifax ladies. I haven't seen anybody with a beard yet. What's going on there? But I've got to tell you, right, lads, since I've been doing this job, it has been absolutely amazing. You just get up and you have a bit of a laugh, make people laugh, and for some reason it is an attraction to the ladies and a couple of the blokes on this table as well, which is unnerving me slightly, to tell you the truth. But I'm not trying to show off, lads, but my wife, right, she is a babe. You've seen the film, lads, you know exactly what I'm fucking talking about. But it's funny, right, you see all these young lads, you know what I mean, Jamie came up and they spend all this money, Hoggy doing his hair, getting his blonde highlights in, because he's a proper fucking ginger, to tell you the truth, right? And you know, you have a spray tan, you get your teeth bleached, you're wasting your time. You do not have to go to that extreme, right? If anybody here, right, wants to get off with a woman, just do what I did. I changed my approach about 3 years ago, and it's worked for me every time. I go to a nightclub in Halifax called the Acapulco, right? And I don't know if you've heard of it. It's horrendous, right? But it's full of minge, right? And I've gone in, and it's worked for me every time. I've never ever not woken up to someone the following morning when I've tried this. So all you young lads, you've got Kurt Cobain in the corner, absolutely brilliant to see you. Because you probably won't get so much like I didn't used to as well, like. So, if you see a woman that you like, right, do this. Approach her calmly, smile at her, right, put your hand on her shoulder, and just say, "Excuse me, love, do you think that this cloth smells of chloroform?" And I guarantee you'd be banging her within 20 minutes. It's quite funny really, because when I speak about women, as you can probably tell, I've not done very well with women in the past. I weren't a good looking lad. Look at me, I'm just a mess really, but I did spend a lot of time on my own. I always remember, I think I was about 20-year-old, and I'm not trying to show off, an amazing moment in my life. I organised, right, and I know there's some ladies there, I organised my first ever threesome. And I'll be honest with you lads, it was absolutely out of this world. There were a couple of no-shows, but I really enjoyed it. You know what I'm saying? But something, you'd probably be surprised to hear this, but I do read a lot of newspapers and things like that. And I was reading the Times earlier this week, right, and I couldn't believe it, right? The British Medical Journal announced, right, this week, gentlemen, and this is a fact, this, if you masturbate, right, just as little as twice a day, right? It will reduce your chances of getting a critical illness, right, by as much as 23%. Right, and I were intrigued by this, and me being me, things get in my head. So what I've done, I've had a bit of a tot up, right, and evidently I am fucking immortal. But I was telling Oggy, it is nerve-wracking, and because I was coming up here, I set off about 11 o'clock this morning. I went for a bit of a walk, and where I'm from in Halifax, it's an estate, it's a little bit rough, it's not the best place, but it's my home, and I'm dead proud of it. So I've gone for a walk this morning. As I'm going up the road, I couldn't help noticing that one of my neighbours' kitchen window was just slightly ajar, right? That just means a little bit open, Hoggy, you know what I mean? Don't mean it was made from a fucking jar. So the way I've been brought up, right, I'd call myself a bit of a chancer. My dad used to say, if there's anything going, just have a look like. So I thought, I'll just put my head in this window and see if there's out going. And I don't want anyone to get the wrong impression of me. I don't mean like I'd steal a handbag or a purse or anything like that. I'm thinking maybe a couple of wagon wheels for kids' dinner or something, do you know what I mean? So I've got my head inside this window and I'm having a bit of a look round. And to my horror, right, there's a little girl and she stood on like a buffet or a stool, right, with her mum, and they're washing up in the sink together. And I thought, oh shit, if I get clocked here, I'm in trouble, right? So I've slowly got my head out of the window. I've just got outside, I thought I'm safe. And to my horror, I heard the little girl, and she went, Mummy. I thought I've been spotted. I thought, oh no. She went, Mummy. She said, why are your hands so nice and soft, Mummy? She says, is it because you use fairy liquid? She says, no love, it's because I'm fucking 13. Anyway, so I thought, right, we're quite posh down in Halifax now. We've got a Morrison's up at Illingworth, so I thought, I'll go up to Morrison's, just chill out a bit. I've gone up to Morrison's, I'm going through a car park, and I couldn't believe it, right? I looked over, there's a bit of a commotion going on, and they're all stood around this car, all these teenagers. So I walked over and I thought, I'll see what's happening. There's a couple of policemen there. I thought, what's happened here? So I said to one of these young lads, what's going on here, mate, around this car? He says, well, they found a suspicious item. I says, have you any idea what it is? He says, we're just waiting for clarification, but we think it's a valid car tax disc. But I've got to warn you, gentlemen, because there's a lot of bad things happening in Halifax, right? And when I've gone in there, right, apparently there's a scam going on, right? There's 3 Eastern European type ladies, right, dressed in like scantily clad gear. And what they're doing, when you come out of Morrison's, they're approaching you. Right, one's coming on to you, giving it all big licks, and when you get distracted, the other 2 are going through your shopping. They're getting all the best bits out while you're not looking, right? Like your big razors and your wagon wheels and that. And the other one that's coming on to you, she gets tongue down your throat, and she's got her hand in your jeans pocket, and she's trying to lift your wallet, right? And I'm only telling you because apparently it's spreading across the country, is this, and I just want you to be aware of what's happening, right? Because I was a victim of this scam on Sunday, right? Twice on Tuesday. And I went this morning, they weren't fucking there. I'm absolutely pissed off. But it's funny, right? You see things, and I noticed something in the wall. I thought it don't look quite right there. There's a big hole in the wall, and it were at the entrance into Morrison's. So I said, what's happened over here? So apparently got ram raided last night. So you're joking? So they just don't care anymore, people, do they? I said, what were they after? They says, well, they think they were trying to get in by the tobacconist, you know what I mean, by the kiosk, get a load of cigarettes and that. They said they got it wrong where they've rammed it in the van. They've got the van inside. I says, well, what have they got? They said they got away with a pallet of that Red Bull, 2 pallets of Nescafe, not even that decaffeinated coffee, and a pallet of that Lucozade Sport, and I just says, I don't know how these people sleep at night. I really don't. Anyway, I walked down home, I've gone down home, and I couldn't help noticing that quite a lot of people on the estate were out, and it's quite unusual that. And my next door neighbour, I said to him, what's going on here, Derek? And he says, you've not heard then? I says, heard what? He says, oh, wait till I tell you this, it's on TV, on radio and everything. I said, come on, what's happened? He says, apparently, right, the police have found a £3.1 million haul of drugs, weapons and artillery, right, behind Halifax Library. I said, you're fucking joking. And everybody on our estate, we just cannot get our heads around it, right? Nobody knew that we had a library. Anyway, I've gone into my house, I've gone into the front room, like, and they've all done it, haven't they, lads? Your wives, they just come in, they lose their heads with you. And she's come steaming into the front room, she says, yo, I'm sick to death of you, you lazy bastard. That's what's up with you. Since you started doing this comedy shit, you don't do anything round the house. We're sick to death of you, all kids are sick to death of you, you just don't do anything. You lazy bastard. I'll be honest, lads, I nearly fell off couch, I was that shocked, I couldn't believe what I was listening to. I said, well, what do you want me to do? She said, just try and be a little bit more helpful. I says, right, you'll give me a list of jobs to do and I'll do it. She says, right, okay then, mow the lawn, clean bathroom, and she said, I'll tell you what would be really helpful, if you could put some shelves up in the pantry. Now, I don't know if you know what a pantry is up in this neck of the woods. The pantry, or the larder, is the space under the staircase. It's a small enclosed space where the kids sleep and you hide the drugs at the back, yeah? That's what a pantry is. I said, no dramas, love, leave it with me. And then she disappeared upstairs and things took a turn for the better, lads, right? Because she came back, she emerged, she got on the steps, couldn't believe what I was seeing. She had one of them tight blue nurse's outfits on, right? Proper black leather long trench coat, right? And then she went to work at hospital, the fat bitch. I thought, right, I'm going to get all these jobs done now. I've gone out and mowed lawn, cleaned bathroom and kitchen and that. I thought, happy days, right? What were the other jobs she wanted me to do? I thought, I know, they put these shelves up in the pantry. Now, it's been a long time, lad, since I've done any DIY. I do a different type of DIY, but that involves my left-handed mouse on the laptop. I won't really go into that. So I thought, right, I got all my tools out of the shed. I thought, I'm going to get these shelves up. And I'll be honest with you, lads, I'm thick as pig shit, as you've probably noticed. And I thought, I'm going to use my brains here. I'm going to walk up to this library and I'm going to get some help. I've gone up to the library. I've walked in, straight up to the desk, very attractive lady. I says, excuse me, love. I says, have you got any books on shelves? And she just looked at me like a right dipstick, to be honest with you. But I thought, I'll take my chances, right? I had a bit of a look round. None of my friends were in. I thought, I'll make the most of this. I said, while I'm here, love, I says, have you got that book for gentlemen with very small penises? She says, it ain't in yet. I said, yes, love, that's the one. But I've got to tell you, I'm chuffed to come up here. I was telling Oggy, I'm having a bit of trouble in my marriage at the moment. And I go for a game of snooker every Tuesday night. I've gone for a game of snooker last Tuesday. My mate, and in 12 years, he's never not turned up. You can't play snooker on your own. I've headed for home. I've gone home in my top of the range, micro. Like I say, I've done quite well for myself. I've pulled up outside the house. Couldn't help noticing that all the curtains were on in the house. Kids have a bit of a sleepover on Tuesday. So I've gone into the front room. There's no sign of my wife. Then I've heard a little bit of giggling. I thought, wonder where that's coming from. And I knew straight away it was coming from upstairs. Now, when you get to my age, lads, 45, opportunities don't come along that often, right? So I was ready for action straight away. I've slipped out of my Reebok shell suit bottoms. I've left my brogues on. I was like the human tripod. I made my way to the steps. I've ran up the steps, 4 steps at a time. I've got to the bedroom door, right? I'm not trying to show off, but I've pushed the bedroom door open. I didn't even use my hands, right? I pole vaulted into my bedroom. I've landed on my Glenrothes carpet. I've looked over at my bed, my marital bed. I've looked at my wife, Tracy, and I've said, hiya. She's looked back at me and she said, hiya, because she's got a slightly deeper voice than me. Then I've looked to her left, right, and my mate Dave from Ruby Club, he's looked at me, and a bit sheepishly has gone, hiya. And I've been brought up properly to have manners, so I've said, hello. And I'll be honest with you, lads, I'm absolutely devastated at what I've just witnessed. He's in bed with my wife, and it's hard for me to talk about. And I burst into tears, and I can't believe that anybody could be so desperate, and I really, really fucking liked the lad as well. I thought, what's he thinking? So I've turned around, I've gone downstairs, I thought, I'm out of here, I'll let him have her. That's his problem. And I've got downstairs, and my dad, he brought me up to look after himself, have a bit of shit inside me, and I thought, I'm not having it. He's not getting away with this. So I thought, right, what am I going to do? I've gone into the pantry, right, and I'm not proud of this, lads, but I've pulled out a Magnum, right? So that is my favourite ice cream at the moment. And I've not calmed down a bit, and I thought, right, and being an Halifax lad, I have an array of weapons, right? So I've got a revolver, I've got that, and I thought, right, I'm going to go and teach him a lesson. So I've gone back upstairs, I've marched into the bedroom, pushed the bedroom door open, right, with my hand. I've walked in, and I've looked over, and I'm hoping that he's gone. Right, he's got a cigar in his mouth, my wife's got a pipe in. I thought they're taking a piss, he's had another go. So I've lifted it, and I've just pointed it over. I'm only trying to scare him a little bit, not being silly, I don't like that. And I've accidentally, because I'm trembling that much, it's gone off in my hand. And I'm like Dale Winton thinking, what have I just done? And I'm looking around, my first concern with my MFI mirrored wardrobes, paid 85 quid for them in sale. They're alright, they're wobbling a bit, but that were normal. Then I've looked at my wife, Tracy, she looked absolutely terrible. Horrible leather, lizard-like skin, black bags under her eyes, greasy, horrible hair. So I knew straight away that I'd not hit her. And then I looked at Dave. It looked different. It looked sort of grey and ashen face and fucking hot. It looked a bit like Greg, to tell you the truth, you know what I mean? Then I saw all this red stuff trickling down his face. I thought, what the hell is that? And I knew straight away that I'd hit him. I thought, I was just trying to scare him, what have I done? And he just slumped and he landed on my wife. I thought, shit, I'm in trouble here, right? My wife sat up, straight up this, looked straight at me and she went, you. I says, what? She says, you want to learn to calm yourself down. She says, because if you carry on like that, you'll have no fucking mates left. I've got to tell you a bit more about a guest on the top table. Matthew Hoggard. Growing up in Morley, it's a rough place, right? And before he embarked on his average cricket career, right, what he did, he had to learn how to look after himself. So he took up boxing, right? Matthew, a lot of people don't know this, right? It's not in his book. But Matthew Hoggard, as an amateur boxer, had 23 fights, right? 22 knockouts, and then he finally fucking won one. He was the only boxer that I know that had to retire from 7 fights with sore arms, that the referee kept treading on him. But he had a dream, Matthew Hoggard had a dream, didn't you? All he wanted to be was a professional boxer. And anyone here knows that if you want to be a pro boxer, you have to go through quite a stringent medical test, which unfortunately for Hoggy involves the head, because there's fuck all in it. Right, he paid the £100, he had the test, and he had to wait 10 days for the results to come through. He was doing quite well for himself. He started waiting in his, I think he was in a static rather than a mobile at the time. The telephone rang, he picked it up. The voice at the other end said, can I speak to Mr. Hoggard, please? He says, speaking. He says, it's Dr. Jones here from the British Boxing Board of Medical Control. He said, I've been expecting your call. He says, right. He says, unfortunately, you have got sugar diabetes. To which Hoggy replied, listen, mate, I don't give a shit. I'll fight anybody. Bring it on, no fucking dramas. Now, Hoggy being Hoggy knows a lot of dodgy characters, right? So he managed to get a dodgy licence, a counterfeit boxing licence, right? And his manager set up his first ever professional fight, right? And he said to him, we'll get you some real cannon fodder, right? We've got this Nigerian guy, he's got no feet, right? All you've got to do is dance about, pick him off, you get your first professional win under your belt, right? So Hoggy said, no dramas, that sounds good to me. He got some shorts made for the big night, he got his nickname embroidered on the waistband, candle, because generally one blow and he was fucking out. And they arranged his first ever fight at Morley Civic Hall. It was absolutely brilliant. All his family came down, absolutely brilliant night. They saw loads of pegs, read loads of palms and everything. It was a top dope. And he was nervous, weren't he? Really nervous. Anyway, the bell went for round 1 and Hoggy started off really well, dancing about, picking the Nigerian off. About 20 seconds in, big slashing cut across the Nigerian's left eye, bleeding heavily into his eye. 10 seconds later, one across his right eye, bleeding heavily into his other eye. Thinking he's going to get stopped, is this? And that's when the problems began for Matthew Hoggard, because the referee stepped in and took the knife from him. 20 seconds later, boom, he took one, an uppercut on one of his chins. Fucking nightmare. Sparked out in his first professional fight. He's on the canvas, 7 minutes. He wakes up, he's looking up, his manager's looking down on him. He says, what's happened? He says, you got knocked out. He says, my first professional fight against this Nigerian with no feet, and I've been knocked out. And his manager said, to be honest, mate, there's been a bit of a mix-up. He said, what do you mean? So with this Nigerian guy, he'd actually gone 19 fights without defeat. I'll just mention a few of the characters that I've had the privilege of being sat with. This young man here, lovely, your chairman of your club, Eddie, what a lovely fella. And he probably don't want anyone to know this, but he came down to Yorkshire a few weeks ago for a few beers, and he came to Halifax, and unfortunately, he was a victim of a pickpocket. I don't want anyone to know this, and honestly, I cannot believe that anybody could stoop so fucking low. And then the chap next to me is a really nice guy, Greg. It's been a privilege sitting next to him. He's looking a bit worried now. He's only a bit of fun, mate. And for those that don't know, Greg, he's one of them lads. Greg. He's such an aura about him. He's the sort of bloke that can light any room up just simply by moving away from the fucking window. And I know he's a great cricketer as well, which is fantastic. He's a captain of this great club. I know he's a great cricketer because I've had to sit and listen to him for 3 fucking hours telling me. But I found an old copy of your local newspaper, and this is fantastic. I couldn't believe it. There's actually been comparisons made between Greg Hopcroft and the great Matthew Hoggard, and I'll read it out to you. It says here, compared to England's mercurial opening batsman, Matthew Hoggard, local Glenrothes product, Greg Hopcroft, is shit. Yeah, you can laugh all you want, he's made it into the newspaper, don't take the piss, you know what I mean? Now, he's a top lad, I know since I last saw him he has put a bit of timber on, but to be fair to him, lad, he's had quite a lot on his plate. And he told me a few interesting stuff about him. When he used to go to school, he had a great love of most subjects. Music were one of his favourite subjects. I says, what were your favourite musical instrument at school? And I was surprised to hear that it was in fact the dinner bell. Is he still laughing? Pagging me out. Nah, but okay, I know I shouldn't take the piss, but he has been a bit worried. He's been for some tests and that, and he's been down to a local hospital. He's had his results back, and it is good news. They did suspect an underactive thyroid problem. He's going to be absolutely fine, nothing more than an overactive knife and fork. Happy days. He's still laughing, isn't he? I've got to get out of here yet. And the lovely lad on the end, what a top lad. He's done a great job. I tell you what, he's done a fantastic job in organising this event, and I really mean that as well, Eddie. Fantastic. And it's funny, really, because when you get talking, I found out that me and him have something in common, and it's not easy to talk about. There may be other people who suffer from this very rare medical condition, and it's not easy to talk about. I know Hoggy has suffered in the past, but me and Eddie, we suffer from something called premature ejaculation. And no, I'm glad you think it's funny, lad, because it's not. And over the years, it really has caused me minutes of anxiety. It really has. And I remember first time. I mean, I was quite old when the first night happened, you know, and I was so nervous. She's my wife now. I'd been with her for about proper Halifax lass. I knew it were imminent. I'd been with her for about an hour and a half. I knew it was going to happen, and we went back to her place, and all credit to her, she just took it on the fucking chin. But you'd be pleased to know this, you can actually get help. I didn't go to the doctor's route, but Eddie, fair play to him, he's been to his local GPs. I take my hat off to him. He is on medication at the moment, but I believe things are still touch and go. Is that right? But to all you young lads at the back, right, I've got some great news if you do suffer from it, right? Apparently, and I don't think I'm being rude here, but apparently Durex, right, brought out these new condoms, right? And what they do, it's for people like us who suffer from this condition. In the bulb tip at the end, right, they put a small amount of anaesthetic on it, right? And when you bop it on the big fella, right, what it does, it numbs the tip of your penis, right? So what it does, it lessens the sensation, but it means that you can last a bit longer, right? And when you get a little bit older and a bit wiser, like Greg, you just pop it on inside out and you don't have to wake her up. Happy days! I've got to say, lads, coming at this room, there's so many people of all different ages and that, and it's lovely to see such a mix, and you've all been amazing. And every time I do an event, I dedicate it to my granddad, right? And I hope you don't mind, these people down here have reminded me of my granddad, which is fantastic, really. No, and I am always respectful to old people. I don't take the piss out of old people, because end of the day, they have machines for that nowadays, don't they? So they don't need to. But my granddad, what an amazing character, and I'm sure, like most of you here, he's looking down on me right now. He's not dead, he's a roofer. But he's still going strong, he's still having sex at 72, which is amazing, right? Because he lives at 76. If my grandma finds out, she'll rip his fucking head off. But I'll just finish off with this very poignant story, right? My nana, she was really nice to me. She was quite posh. When I used to go to her house, she had these luxury items. I don't know if you've got them up here, they were called custard creams. They were amazing, I used to love them. And I remember I once went to her house after school, and she never got up. She never got up to make me a drink and get me some custard creams. And I knew straight away something weren't right. So I thought, I'll go and do it myself. So I've gone into the kitchen, I've made 3 cups of tea, one for me, one for my nana, one for my granddad. And I'm looking around for these biscuits, and I'm opening all cupboards trying to find them. I opened this cupboard, and I found this white box. I thought, I bet they're in here. I pulled out this box, I've opened it, and to my horror, there's a load of tablets in, and it were like prescribed medication. And I looked, and it had my granddad's name on. I thought, that's what's wrong, my granddad's not so well, and my nana's not going to tell me. And to my horror, when I looked on closer inspection, I found that these tablets were something called Viagra, right? And I don't know if you have them up here. If you don't, I can get you some. I've got some in car, no problems, right? And I was horrified. So I knew what they were, and I just felt sick straight away. Unbeknown to me, my nana had got up and she'd not sneaked in, but she'd gone across sort of lino, slippery floor in her pink slippers. And they done what nanas do. They come up and they put their arms round your waist and stick the chin in back of your neck, which were right nice. She had a right white fluffy beard. It was lovely. And she says, "Are you all right, Peter?" I says, yeah. And she saw these in my hand straight away. And I says, "No, I'm not all right." She says, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" She just started laughing. I says, "I'm sorry, Nana, but this isn't funny." I says, "I know what these are, and I feel sick thinking of you and my granddad," like that. She says, "Right, sometimes in life, Peter, you get things wrong." I says, "Explain yourself then." She says, "Right, seeing as you ask, I will." She says, "Right, every night I make your granddad a cup of Horlicks, right?" I says, "Yeah." She says, "And unbeknown to him, I get one of these tablets of Viagra, I break it up into quarters, and I just put 1 quarter in his cup of Horlicks." I says, "Yeah." And she says, "And it's just enough to stop him from pissing on his slippers before he goes to bed." And biggest compliment I can give you is do a lot of these events. It has been really nice to come up here. You've been a fantastic audience, and you've kind of made the night by being here. So from me and Oggy, thank you for being here and supporting it. It does mean a lot, lads. Gents, we've not quite finished yet. Can I just ask you for 2 minutes of order? I'm going to hand on to your chairman, Eddie. He's going to say a few words. So if you're just listening to him and giving your best, you've done a fantastic job organising this with Kenny. Gentlemen, your chairman.
Gents, Pete Emmett. Well done, Pete. Thank you very much. Just in closing, Pete gave me a bit of the credit there, but really, there's only one man really that we need to thank for bringing tonight together, and that's the man on the end of the table there, which is Kenny Crichton. And hats off to Kenny. He's done absolutely brilliant. I can see now why Andy Muir resigned as the social officer. Just in closing, thanks to Jan, who's no longer here, and to Matthew Hoggard. What a brilliant guy. Thank you, Matt. Thanks for coming along. To everyone that came tonight, to all of you, thank you very much. It made a very special evening. And just so keep an eye on the club. We'll try our best to replicate what we did last year. See how we get on. Just in closing, good night, God bless, safe journey home. Thanks for coming.